Cousins end up to begin the 2018 NFL season? What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NFL, here to discuss the biggest free agent quarterback in this year's free agency class by far, which is one Kirk Cousins, and he has been the talk since basically the Alex Smith trade happened. If you guys remember, Alex Smith got traded to the Redskins, and at that point we knew this marriage was over, okay? And basically that the Redskins, who kept franchise tagging Kirk Cousins, were not going to do it anymore. And now that they have their quarterback, they are willing to, of course, let Kirk Cousins walk. And of course, I broke that trade down, so if you guys want to check out my thoughts on that trade, you guys can go ahead and check that out in my videos. But with that being said, here to talk about this topic, which is where will Kirk Cousins end up? Now, I've talked a little bit about this before, but this is really me going into detail here, looking at all the possible options, which teams are on the table for Kirk Cousins that he can even consider, and which teams are going to be those legit contenders to where I actually think he ends up going. And I'm going to finally give you guys a team at the very end where I think he ends up, so stick around till the end for that. Well, with that being said, let's get started. First, let's talk about the teams at hand here, because again, this has been the talk of the entire NFL offseason, and everybody wants to throw every team out there. But of course, we know what teams are the QB dependent teams, the QB needy teams, if you will. And really, a new report just came out that basically there are 4 teams now which are finalists for the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes, and none of these teams surprise me at all. In fact, these would have been my top 4 choices had this report not come out. I would have basically said these 4 teams. But basically, these 4 teams are, and this is in no particular order, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Cardinals, and the Jets, okay? So again, makes sense, right? Each of those teams needs a quarterback. Now, of course, Minnesota had Case Keenum, and you could say Case took him all the way to the NFC Championship game. Fives, how could you say that? Look, I get it, okay? Case Keenum took him to the championship game, but just because I got Case Keenum does not mean I can't improve, can I? And everybody knows Kirk Cousins is better than Case Keenum, okay? Now, again, the question is, what is the price? What is the price tag, okay? So with that being said, that it was definitely an upgrade. Every team in here having Kirk Cousins as their starting quarterback would be an upgrade, okay? So look, I like Case Keenum. He's a nice quarterback, but like I said, is he going to be the future of the Minnesota Vikings? No. He was already there as a replacement, really. Sam Bradford, their starting quarterback, got hurt, and we know the story. It was a good feel-good story. Just like with Nick Foles, do I think Nick Foles is a lock to stay with the Eagles this offseason? I actually don't. Now, would I be shocked if he does, in fact, get traded? Yes, I would. But like I said, everybody knows Carson Wentz is the future of that team. So in the similar boat, everybody knows Case Keenum is not the future of the Vikings, okay? Broncos have a 3-headed sort of, I wouldn't even say a monster, because that would be a compliment. They have a 3-headed disaster at quarterback with Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, and whoever else they've been bringing in, Brock Osweiler, if you will. So that is a mess of a situation as well. You take a look at the Cardinals. Carson Palmer retires, and now they really don't have anybody on the roster. They might draft a quarterback. Who knows? They definitely need one. And then the Jets, Christian Hackenberg, Bryce Petty. Do I need to say more? Okay, so basically all of these teams need a quarterback. Which team do I feel like would be the best fit for Kirk Cousins? Well, there's a couple things here. Best team for Kirk Cousins, it will depend on his priorities. Does he value winning, and does he value money, or one of the other, okay? If he values winning, then we all know the Broncos and the Vikings would be the best option for Kirk Cousins. They've got the most ready-made rosters at this point. The Vikings have a stout defense, arguably the best defense in the NFL. You've got all-pro receivers in Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. You've got a solid tight end in Kyle Rudolph. You've got a great rookie running back in Dalvin Cook, who got hurt. He's coming back this year. And not to mention, you still have Latavius Murray. So the group around Kirk Cousins, the offensive personnel, is amazing in Minnesota. Then we take a look at Denver. A little less impressive, but still impressive nonetheless. You have 2 stud receivers in Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders on the outside, which are clear upgrades over anybody you had in Washington. And then you've got C.J. Anderson. So, like I said, not as good as Dalvin Cook, but again, he is still serviceable. And, of course, you still got a stout defense. Again, not as good as Minnesota. But here's the thing. The division that the Broncos are in, you don't have Aaron Rodgers in that division. So that could be looked at as a plus for the Broncos. But obviously, the Vikings would be the best roster for him if he values winning, and then it would probably be the Broncos, but those are the two. Kirk Cousins values money, and who doesn't love money? And not to say he's not going to get paid with either of these teams. Everybody's going to pay Kirk Cousins, but the Jets have, I think, the second most salary cap space in the NFL, and they've got all the money in the world to throw at Kirk Cousins, more than the Broncos, more than the Vikings, and more than the Cardinals can, okay? So it's not like Kirk Cousins will be struggling to feed his family, if you will, okay? Either way, he's getting paid. It's just how much more do you want to get paid? And there were crazy rumors about the freaking Jets offering or looking to offer Kirk Cousins $60 million a year. Of course, that was just to put out there to sort of say that the Jets have a lot of money, but I never believe that rumor, and that is ludicrous. Again, NFL contracts are very tricky. Do not believe everything you read with NFL contracts, folks. I am telling you, you will save yourself a lot of trouble that way. But the Jets can, in fact, offer him the most money out of all these other teams. Now, we saw the contracts with Jimmy Garoppolo. We saw the contract with Matt Stafford. Kirk Cousins is going to become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, I believe. Definitely if he signs with the Jets, because like I said, the number, what is the magic number? You saw Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe in his first year, I think he's getting about $20 million. Stafford around the same as Kirk Cousins, $25, $30 million. What is the number for Kirk Cousins? Because like I said, the Jets can offer him the most amount of money. What's the guaranteed number? But again, you're in the same division as the Patriots, and it's hard to say that you're going to be in a winning roster. Actually, it's easy to say that. You won't be on a winning roster because the Jets are awful right now, okay? Matt Forte just retired. Like I said, the quarterback situation, obviously, they didn't get any help from the receivers. They had Quincy Enunwa was their best receiver. I'm having trouble remembering at this point who the hell was on the Jets. Robbie Anderson stepped up late in the year. So for the Jets right now, I mean, you've got Bilal Powell, like I said, Robbie Anderson. You've got Quincy Enunwa, a very mediocre to below average to one of the worst, I would say, rosters in the NFL. But again, talking about the Benjamins here with Kirk Cousins, if he values money, that is where you can look at. But ultimately, where do I think he ends up? Look, to me, it is a very clear answer. I think Kirk Cousins ends up with the Vikings. The reason I say that is if you look at everything, it all adds up because the Vikings can't offer as much money as the Jets can, but they can still offer a decent amount. The Cardinals and the Broncos going to have to do some tweaking around here to make a big offer to Kirk Cousins because their salary cap situations are just not as pretty as the Jets are and as the Vikings are, okay? So that's the problem with them. And if you're looking to do that, if you're looking to cut players, you're looking to cut salary, you're going to cut some, roster players on your roster, and that's going to lead to a depleted roster, if you will. So they're going to have to do some tinkering and maneuvering. We'll see what happens there. But the Vikings are the most ready team. Yes, I know they're in the same division with Aaron Rodgers, but they've won the division without Kirk Cousins, even when Aaron Rodgers was in it. And that's not a fault of Aaron Rodgers. That's just the Packers organization being inept. But that's another topic for another day, okay? Because there's no reason Aaron Rodgers should only have one Super Bowl by now. That is ludicrous to me. But with that being said, the Vikings roster is significantly better than the Packers roster outside of quarterback. I mentioned all the skill players you have, and then you've got the money that the Vikings can offer. They can still offer Kirk Cousins a very good contract, okay? You get to play in a dome. You don't even have to play in cold weather all the time. And to me, it just makes most sense for Kirk Cousins because you get to be in a winning situation. You get to have the most or the second most amount of money. And you just get to be able to get the best of both worlds with not being in a dome, with not being in a very, very tough division. I mean, the Bears and Lions are awful. And like I said, the Packers are the only other team you have to worry about. And their roster is very inept outside of Aaron Rodgers. So to me, this is a clear answer here. I think this is literally we're just waiting for the inevitable. Kirk Cousins, I think, will sign with the Minnesota Vikings. I will be very shocked. I would literally take that $60 million from the damn Jets for Kirk Cousins to sign with them because he would be stupid to sign with the Jets, I believe, okay? So I'm going with the Vikings, Broncos next, then probably Jets, then the Cardinals. That's just what I think, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Where is Kirk Cousins ending up? Leave a comment down below why Kirk Cousins you think is ending up at that spot. If you agree or disagree, let me know, guys. Give it a big thumbs up this video, please. I appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and as always, thanks for watching.